Hey guys, Jared with the Vinyl Corner, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 25 favorite albums of the year so far. So yeah, 2019 has already proved to be a pretty stellar year for music for me personally so far. It started off a little slow, but these last couple months it just seems like so many amazing albums have been coming out like so close to one another. So yeah, I already counted down this list on my Instagram, but I wanted to make a video about it regardless. So I'm going to rifle through like the first 10 or 15 and then I'll talk about the last spots a little bit more. So let's hop into the list. At 25, we have King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard with Fishing for Fishies. At 24, we have ZelooperZ with Dyn-o-mite. At 23, we have Lil Simz with Gray Area. At number 22, we have Weyes Blood with Titanic Rising. 21, we have Warmoon Lord with Burning Banners of the Funereal War. 20, we have Internal Rot Hack Session. 19, we got Show Me the Body's Dog Whistle. At 18, we have Billy Woods and Kenny Segal with Hiding Places. At 17, we have Anderson .Paak with Ventura. And at 16, we have The Comet Is Coming, Trust in the Life Force of the Deep Mystery. At number 15, we have Krzysztof Drabikowski with Panida, or Panahida. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's Russian. But yeah, this is the guy from the actual Batushka. If you guys know anything about the situation of that band, it's absolutely awful what is happening to this guy. But yeah, his album that he put out after he had gotten ousted from his previous band is absolutely fantastic. I feel like it takes a lot of the elements that made their previous album so well received, but it's a little bit more stripped back on the gimmicky ideas of that album, and it's just some really great black metal. There's some great riff writing on here, so yeah, this is great stuff. At 14, this one really took me by surprise. This is Flume. Hi, this is Flume. I've never been a Flume fan really previously before this. My younger brother's a pretty big fan, but I have never been into him. If anything, I've actually been a little bit of a hater against Flume. But this new mixtape thing, absolutely great. He's taking on a lot more weird ideas, a lot more of a wonky edge, a lot more like just fun ideas, and he really just brought together this awesome little piece of electronic music. It's so bright, it's so colorful, it's so dense, it's so textured. It's just a really fucking fun time front to back, and I really, really hope he continues with this sound in the future, because if he could just shape this up a little bit more, he could easily make some of the best electronic releases of the decade. At number 13, we got Tim Hecker with Anoyo. Now, I was a huge fan of Kanoyo. I know some people weren't the biggest fans of it, but I absolutely adored it. So this little sister compendium album that goes along with it is pretty much just the same kind of ideas going on there. It's a little bit more ambient towards the back half. But yeah, just more great stuff from Tim Hecker. If you know Tim Hecker, he's just an ambient genius. His use of degradation of like sound and like how he textures things and piles them on top of each other is just so amazing. And yeah, I really liked it. I know some people weren't the craziest about it, but I'm really enjoying the shit out of it. So at number 12, we got Full of Hell with Weeping Choir. Now, I am a kind of passive fan of Full of Hell. I think that they're a pretty good band, but this one absolutely blew my socks off. They're like a kind of like deathy grindcore album, but they include a lot of elements of like noise collage and stuff like that sometimes, but especially on this one, I just think it all came together so well. It's so like chokingly like dense. It's just got so much happening all the time. It's hard for your brain to like even catch up sometimes, and they really show off a lot of different angles of their sound. Sometimes they're more death metal, sometimes they're more noise, sometimes they're more grindcore. It's just, they got a really good formula going, and they just continue to show why they're one of the better bands in that field right now. At 11, we have Blarf, aka Eric Andre, with his album Cease and Desist. I want to try and talk about this album in full on here. it's quite a weird experience, and I just really want to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it too much here, but it's just this amazingly textured Plunderphonics record. Eric brings together samples that shouldn't work, and they really just come together well. It's one of those things like a Captain Beefheart's Trout Mask replica, where like a lot of the things are kind of off-putting or don't sound good together, but at the same time, like they have that kind of like funny mystique edge to them, where it's like, okay, this works so little that it actually is genius in a lot of ways. At least that's how I personally viewed it. I got a lot out of the album, and I'm still very much so enjoying it. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to be reviewing that soon, so hopefully that's up pretty soon here. Kicking off the top 10, we have Matmos with Plastic Anniversary. This is just a really awesome, like, industrial dance music record. They had this awesome concept where they only used things made of plastic, and they only sampled noises from things that they could make out of plastic, whether it was like blowing up plastic in the microwave, tapping combs together, billiard balls like slapping together. Just, they had this awesome concept. They really stretched it to its limits, and it came out as an amazing release. It's really fun, it's really energetic, but it also shows a lot of complicated like musicality to it, and it's very engaging throughout the whole thing. So yeah, I absolutely love the record, and you know, Matmos just continues to be absolutely awesome. At number 9, we have Slouse and Malone with A Quiet Farewell. This one is really interesting because I know a lot of people that don't like it for its general ideas, and I know people that absolutely adore it for its general ideas. It's some of the most lo-fi hip-hop ever made. It's just so crumbly, it's so distorted, and the way that the vocals are mixed, it's like these features don't even seem like features most of the time because they're kind of just like background in the mix with everything, and it's just swirling and taking over you, and it's just so dark and kind of, you know, really just DIY sounding, but in a really amazing way. It conveys a lot of heavy emotion and a lot of ideas a lot of us can connect with, but it does it in such an abstract format that a lot of people aren't seeming to enjoy it a lot, but the people that do like it seem to be absolutely loving it. So yeah, it's really hard to talk about, but it's just a really interesting and weird piece of modern hip-hop, and he's part of the whole like Slums collective with like Mike and Standing on the Corner and all of them. So yeah, those guys have a huge future ahead of them, I think, and yeah, this is definitely one of the best projects from that collective so far. At number 8, we have Ariana Grande with Thank You Next. Now, obviously, I'm not the biggest pop guy on the planet. I absolutely don't hate pop music either. And I'm not an Ariana Grande fan. I haven't liked any of her previous releases besides like half of Sweetener. But this album, I just can't stop listening to. There's something so amazing about it. It's so well written for a pop record, I think. Like, it's not saying anything absolutely genius, but it's a very mature look on life and relationships, especially ones that are so in and out and ones that had a lot of heavy weight to them. You know, her relationship with Mac Miller and then breaking up with him and him passing away, like that must have been a lot to take on. And then the whole thing with her next boyfriend Pete, it's just a really well written, fun record. Pharrell's production on here is absolutely amazing. I love Pharrell and Ariana as a duo of pop music. I feel like if they stick together, they can make a ton of modern pop classics together. They just fit one another. This one's a little more trap inspired instead of the electro pop that was on Sweetener, but yeah, it has a nice mix of both, and it's just really sugary, it's very sweet, but it's also very human, it's very real, it's tender, it's just pretty much everything I like about pop. So at number 7, we have Quelle Chris with Guns. This is an absolutely awesome abstract hip-hop album. It takes on observing the situations, everybody's opinions about guns in a really not the most unique way, but the way that he does it is so well presented. It allows for playing devil's advocate, but it also shows his stance, and I feel like it's just a really great presentation on the whole gun situation in America right now. And Quelle Chris just continues to be one of the best rappers around right now. I mean, the guy's flows, his lyrical style, and the way he presents himself are just so utterly unique and interesting, and I just can't get enough of what the guy does. His voice is so singular to him, to me. Like, I can spot that dude from a crowd of rappers. I just absolutely love him, and I think this might be my favorite of his yet. I mean, songs like Box of Wheaties are like arguably some of my favorite Chris songs. So yeah, if you guys are into abstract hip-hop and haven't given this one a chance, I would highly recommend it. Coming in at number 6 is Waste of Space Orchestra with Syntheosis. Now, I did a whole unboxing and review of this. At one point it was my album of the year, but obviously it isn't anymore. I absolutely love this record. I think it's absolutely stunning and it's amazing and one of the best metal records I've heard from the last decade. I just don't think it's the best thing I've heard this year because there are a couple weak moments that I just don't think I was acknowledging heavy enough when I was at that particular point. But yeah, this is just an amazing atmospheric sludge metal record. It's got some really crazy off-the-wall ideas, very like spacey, otherworldly sounding things. It's almost like Lovecraftian in a lot of ways with its sounds, and it's just got a lot of amazing build-ups, a lot of tension being built through atmosphere, and if you're into that kind of sound, you really can't go wrong with this one. At number 5, we have Deathspell Omega with The Furnaces of Palingenesia. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not going to talk about this one too long because I don't want to give it too much of the light of day with the whole situation that came out after the album released. I just fucking like music. I think this is one of the better black metal records I've heard in a very long time. Again, I do not condone or support anything that the frontman has revealed to the world that he believes in. I just think this is an amazing black metal record, maybe even my favorite from them, and they've made several black metal masterpieces in my opinion. So yeah, if you like black metal, maybe listen to it, but obviously know going in that the guy that fronts it is associated with some Nazi ties, and yeah, I always try and separate art from the artist, but I obviously understand if people cannot do that, especially with this particular case. So yeah, can't say much. Alright, clocking in at number 4, we have Shu Shu with Girl of Basket of Fruit. This is just an absolutely killer experimental record. I mean, Shu Shu has always been a pretty consistent band, but this latest wave of albums with like Forget, Plays the Music of Twin Peaks, Girl of Basket of Fruit, he's just having a really great time right now with this little resurgence towards this later leg of his career. And Girl with Basket of Fruit is just one of the weirdest things he's put out, if not the weirdest things they've put out. This thing just has some of the most frightening choices of musicality like coming together, like a lot of the electronic elements and a lot of like the yelling vocals or the screech vocals. Like it's bananas. It's everywhere, but it's also really well written in areas and it's super engaging. So yeah, obviously not everyone's gonna dig it. It's very weird, it's very experimental, but I quite enjoyed it myself, and I always try and recommend people to give it a go just because sometimes you might not know if you like it or not. So yeah, I'm really digging it, and it's arguably my favorite Shu Shu album next to Plays the Music of Twin Peaks. Alright, getting into the top 3. At number 3, we have Black MIDI with Schlagenheim. Now, this record is one I can't stop listening to either. I literally play it when I don't know what else to play just because it engages me so much and I'm enjoying it so much. It's this absolutely amazing mix of like math rock, no wave, noise rock, kind of post-punky. Like, it almost sounds like if the Filth era of Swans like had a love child with like Public Image Limited. Like, I don't know why that's what I get out of it, but every time I hear it, I immediately think of like Johnny Rotten screaming the vocals and Michael Girard just like slapping the shit out of his guitar and like screaming. So yeah, this is an absolutely off the wall, amazing, chaotic record. This is one of the more creative rock records I've heard from the last decade, personally speaking. I just think that these guys, with their debut, have created a masterpiece, and it's going to be a debut that I remember for the rest of my life. It's just absolutely heavy. It's killer. The writing on it is insane, but it's great. It's just fun, rowdy, loud, noisy, but it's got so much technical virtuosity behind it. And yeah, I just really can't say enough good things about it. These guys made an absolutely huge splash this year, in my opinion. At number 2, we have Tyler the Creator with Igor. Now, Igor is an album that is attached to me a lot now. A lot of the themes of this record have resonated with me so heavily, and a lot of the songs just kind of seem like they were written for me at this point. You know, like an album just comes at the right time, and it just fits so well with what I was going through, and I'm still kind of going through with like the relationship thing. And it just, like I said, it landed in my lap at the right time. It's amazingly produced. It's got this vintage tinge to it, but it's so fucking well produced and recorded, and Tyler is just really blooming right now, and I feel like it's going to be hard for him to top this album for me personally, just because I have so much personal attachment with it at this point. But yeah, Tyler's change in his style has been absolutely awesome to see, and he's really been showing all of his colors with these last two albums, and I just can't be here to say that I'm here to support him more than anything. I mean, being a fan of his since I was like so young, like he really shaped a lot of my early music taste, and just seeing him go this direction later in his career, me growing with it and being at the right place at the right time kind of along with him, it's just something so special to me about it. Like, there may be musical moments on here, like the back half of Running Out of Time, that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I feel like for me personally, this will always be one of my favorite albums, just because of how much it means to me at this state in my life and how much it's gotten me through already. So yeah, pretty much could have been number one as well. 1 and 2 you could pretty much interswap. I think they're pretty much both perfect. So yeah, Tyler blew me away, and I continue to be impressed by this man all the time. Alright, and my favorite album of 2019 so far is Otoboke Beaver's Itekoma Hits. This is just a mind-melting record. I mean, you guys know I like my weird noise rock stuff, my really fast stuff, my lightning bolts and melt bananas, and Otoboke Beaver is kind of just like this rejuvenation of like the melt banana Midori, like Japanese noise rocky, just super angular, super fast, super punk. Like, it's just so cacophonous, and there's so much loud shit going on. The way that they do their vocals on here is absolutely awesome. When they do like their solos and build up to like the gang vocals, and it's just so heavy, and like everything clashes together so nicely and loudly and just fucking off the wall. The writing on here is absolutely great. Obviously it is all in a foreign language, but there's websites where you can translate it, so don't be lazy. I understand if some people don't want to do that, but don't complain that like people from other cultures can't understand when we clearly have lyrics translators. But anyways, album super well written, amazingly played, pristinely recorded. I really don't have a single thing wrong to say about it, personally speaking. So yeah, my favorite album of the year so far, most definitely. So that was my top 25 of 2019 so far. Let me know some of your favorite releases down below. Recommend me some albums from 2019 that I may not have listened to. I'm always trying to find new stuff for the end of the year list as well. So yeah, guys, while you're in the comments, hit that description, check out all those links, like, comment, subscribe, and check out a video at the end of this one. Until next time, have a nice day.